Good evening. So this is Paul Gilmore, and I'm the chairman of the Simsbury Water Pollution Control Authority. It is 7:01 p.m., the designated hour for us to commence our regular monthly meeting. We have with us Ed Kelly, Jacques Brignac, myself, Paul Gilmore, Dr. Parks. We also have Thomas Roy, Anthony Piazza, and Allison Sturgeon. So we are ready to begin this evening. And the first item on the agenda is the safety brief. So we're all in our several and sundry places of abode or offices and not on the premises. So our brief won't be about the premises. So one of the things that I'm concerned about, like in the springtime, is that I'm a nature lover, and turtles are out and about, and they are not fast creatures, and yet they like roads and seem drawn to roads. And so just, I find at this time of year that it's helpful to be mindful of the creatures out there who really have a hard time fending for themselves against, traffic and automobiles, and just be mindful on the lookout for things that need to get out of the way, but sometimes have a hard time getting out of the way. So that's my safety brief for today.
Yeah, if anybody travels down Farms Village Road, there's always a bunch of turkeys wandering around that road.
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful. So they are not fast-moving creatures either. Matter of fact, I think they do it out of spite. They cross the road very slowly.
Allison, make sure the record reflects slow, spiteful turkeys.
Yeah.
Well, when I was on the way, where those warehouses are on the way to Route 20 towards the airport, and there are like some little roundabouts there and such. And I was on that road a couple weeks back, and I saw this turtle trying to make its way, and I'm like, this road, people aren't expecting that. So I go like around a roundabout, get behind the turtle, put on my flashers, and pick it up and take it to the side, and got back in the car and went on my way, and managed to emerge unscathed, and so did that turtle. So I'm sure it was a surprise for the little assist there, but I felt better for it. So now we're moving on to item 2 on the agenda, which is 30 Winthrop Street, request for sewer use bill adjustment. I saw there was correspondence to that effect. There was an analysis by Tony Piazza and recommendation with respect to it. And I believe Tom Roy also has weighed in on it. So, Tony, you want to give us a recap?
Sure. David Richmond from 30 Winthrop Street sent a letter in requesting his sewer bill be audited and adjusted. He stated that the current first floor of his building has been vacant for the past 18 months and has no running water. They'll be renovating that space, and it won't likely be completed until June 1st of this year. The first floor rear apartment is currently being renovated and has been unoccupied for 18 months. And they're asking for a reduction of their sewer use tax until the renovations are complete. And they said that we could set up a time to visit anytime we wanted to. We did I don't know if you guys know or not, Terrafill Water does not use water meters. They basically use a flat rate fee for buildings. So I don't know how they adjust their fees, but they use a flat rate for different buildings for their set. Back in 2007, I believe, when they did the changeover for the billing policy for this WPCA, everything in Terrafill every commercial building in Terrafill was set with an EDU, equivalent dwelling unit. This property was set at 2.86 equivalent dwelling units based on its size, the size and use. Their bill for 2020 was $1,000.80 based on that. On April 7th, they paid the 2018, April 7th of this year, they paid the 2018, 2019, and 2020 bills. We did some research. The only adjustments that we've ever made for any properties is for proven water leaks. And this is not that case. So my recommendation is not to create an adjustment because we have no idea how much water this business has used. And there's no way to determine the amount of water this business has used. And Tom and I discussed a little bit. I think this falls into the similar situation of somebody moving to Florida for the winter. And their water use gets turned, their water is turned off. So, and we don't adjust for that.
Well, we had that recent situation with the homeowner, right?
Right. Seminary Road.
Yes,
Yeah.
on Seminary Road. Yeah.
And where did that eventually end up? We basically said we couldn't adjust the bill, right?
Correct. Yes, the one that had the fire damage in the property. Correct.
So the difference here is one is a commercial versus residential.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, but okay. I mean, sounds very similar to the residential issue.
Yeah, I think over the years we've come across similar situations, some being more severe and some being less. And as much as I think we want to be empathetic to the business owners and try to be fair, I also think that we offer a very fair rate to begin with. It's very competitive, within the region. And I think at a certain point, parsing this out would lead us down a very slippery slope. My only thought would be is if this was something that keeps coming up, we could at some point investigate looking at allowing for somebody to potentially take out a permit for a reduction or a suspension, but it would have to be before, not after. Not, it can't be, it's been abandoned for six months. Now I want to receive a credit. I think we would have to do something. We're going to do a major renovation to our building. We're going to be out of service, no water for 2 years, and having a process then. But it's so infrequent. I don't know if it's really necessary.
Yeah.
So I'm a little unclear because I heard one thing, but I thought I read another. Were the overdue bills for 2018 and 2019 paid?
Correct. They were all three bills were paid on the same day.
All right, and collectively they are in the amount of 1,080 or a different amount?
They were different amounts the original bill was 1,080, but they also had late fees adjusted with those. So there were different amounts.
That was just for 1 year though, 1,000?
1,080 is for each year, correct.
Each year. All right, and how did this even get brought up?
The owner of the property called up and asked for it.
All right, but did he ask for it before or after he took care of the delinquency?
He asked for it a month ago. So it was well after the delinquent notices.
So, but was there any particular activity that engendered this this initiative?
Not on our end, no.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't really change the analysis, but I mean, I do think for all the reasons you guys have said that really it's not necessarily a prudent thing to, through the lens of hindsight, give retrospective relief, because we're not really in a position to monitor that. It's not like we could just shut them off because they've been, they've had whatever history they've had, and then they're making representations to us. And it's one thing if they have a project that says, for the next 18 months, there's going to be a problem or what have you. But I mean, now they're looking at a June reopen date, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see wisdom counseling in favor of making an exception here, but does anybody else want to be heard and remark about it?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like he was looking for some action or decision from the authority, which I guess should come by means of a motion. So does anyone want to present to the authority a motion that the request for relief be denied as being presented without just cause?
So moved.
Anyone want to second that?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing no one wanting to discuss, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Tony, could you inform the property owner in due course?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. All right. 3 Washburn Drive, request for waiver. And I also saw that there was an email from another house on Washburn Drive that I'm not sure if it's trying to piggyback on that or is this just showing an interest, but can you remark on what's going on with Washburn Drive, Tony?
3 Washburn Drive here. Let me share my screen here. That way you guys know where we're talking about. Of course, since I'm using my Mac, I have no idea how to do this.
Well, I don't know, Tony. Now that you just said that, I'm having a whole different set of feelings towards you.
That's what happens when I have to go pick up scales and stuff for work. All right, I'm really lost now.
What were you looking to share? Just the GIS, or were you looking to share?
Yeah, just the GIS map. Actually, I think it's you know what? It's in the documents that you have.
The report?
Yeah, if you look in the documents, it'll show you the
Let me see, Tony, I'm gonna see if I can't do it.
it'll show you where 3 Washburn Drive is. There's sewers on basically every side of this home except for this home and 4 other properties. I'm sorry. So 3 Washburn Drive is right in the corner off of Great Pond Road and the addition to Washburn Drive. So there's 4 properties that currently are not connected to the sanitary sewer on Washburn Drive. It's 3, 4, 6, and 8 Washburn Drive are presently not connected to the sanitary sewer. A request came in from 3 Washburn Drive to try to connect to the sanitary sewer via an easement through the back properties. We told them that would need to be approved by the WPCA because we're trying to get out of that process or policy of one home on a road going backwards through a lot instead of extending the sewers on sanitary or on the roads. With that being said, the homeowner actually reached out to other properties on Washburn Drive. So 3 of the 4 properties are interested in getting sewers installed on the street. So I guess we've already gone past our first step of sending out interest letters to residents to see if they want to put sewers in.
Right. So how did they get omitted? Was it a matter of fate?
Yeah, all the sewers around this area were put in 1970. So it was one of those decisions that the grounds were good in that area and the septic systems were fine. So there was no reason to put in sanitary sewers.
I see. Okay.
So now these septic systems are all 50 years old at this point in time.
Right.
So they're at that time frame where they need to get replaced or upgraded.
Right. And so that would be what, an extension project to do those for?
Correct. We would have to either grant this person permission to go through an easement through a different property to the sanitary sewer or do a sewer extension project. Tom and I did a quick look at it the other day, very quick. It's about 600 feet of sanitary sewer to cover those 4 properties. There's some topography stuff we'd have to do a better look at. So it's pretty straightforward. It's basically, straight face test, it's 2 manholes and 600 feet. Cost wise, we'd have to look at the topography and we, do a lot more stuff on it. But if you guys decide that you want to entertain moving forward, we can get a survey completed on a project and get an initial cost estimate of the project and set a public hearing.
How many more houses are there on that street?
There's 4 that are not connected to the sanitary sewer.
That's it, just
Yep.
those 4?
Correct, just those 4.
Okay.
And my recommendation being that I think last time we went through this process and we had a difficult neighborhood by the time we got to having the meeting at the library where we were actually having the hearing. And what came up, I remember, is there was a significant concern about the fact that once they put in that interest and we go through the forward with the process of developing a cost estimate, there was a lot of frustration with the neighborhood that they felt that the WPCA is making a decision for them and that they could be put in a position where they're being forced to have a sewer in their neighborhood. I think there was a lot of emotion that night that didn't need to be there. And one of the takeaways for me is we might be able to adjust our process a little bit. And with your approval, I would suggest that Tony and I do a very high level conceptual design, have an informal informational session with these 4 people, which could either be literally in somebody's front yard outside at this point in the year or over Zoom, where again, just laying out, this is what it means to connect to the sanitary sewer system. This is the process. If you choose to go forward, this is how it works. And I think that just may take away a little of the emotion for anybody who was there when we did the last public hearing on one of these extensions.
Just a
Okay.
question. The letter writer says requesting a waiver to connect to the sewer. A waiver from what?
Well, when my response to them when they initially said this is they would need a waiver from the WPCA to do a easement through people's properties to connect to the sanitary sewer instead of doing a sewer extension. So that's where that came from.
Okay.
And I know it's easy to be well-meaning and to allow these one-off connections. But I think if we look back even a couple of years ago when we had the sanitary sewer extension on Bushy Hill Road, we ended up now with people who had connected through the rear of their property through easements. And now that unintentionally inflated the cost to the rest of those residents when we actually did a more formal and permanent sanitary sewer extension in front of their houses. So I think we have to be careful about any unintended consequences to allowing those type of connections.
Right. I mean, when I look at that report for this particular septic system, I mean, it's looking to me, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it's looking to me like it's a $900 problem for them right now. And
Correct.
if you do this conceptual high level thing, I don't see how you're going to come out anywhere under like, $6,000 or $7,000 per house, right? Because you've never come under that since the days of maybe 11,000 or whatever. And they're going to take a look at $900 versus, maybe 10,000 or more. And then, they're not going to want to do it. It's going to be
exactly why I think
closed.
And that's exactly why we don't want to get into the point of having the full-on survey and everything
Right.
else. Let's have, and at the same time, we have, some people want to have the connection because they don't want to deal with these issues in the future.
Right.
And again, I think our job is to lay out very simply, these are the pros and cons of being connected.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys are willing to put in the time to do that and have the necessary caveats about this is, a high level view, it doesn't go into detail in terms of cost analysis. It's an extremely rough analysis and estimate of what would be involved, not to the level of engineering detail that would be necessary to actually propose a project and put it to bid, but would give you like a ballpark idea of what's involved in a possible cost. And then they can look at it, and my guess is they'll have sticker shock and compare it to, what it's going to cost to basically repair this one system and this person's going to be out. I mean, they're moving. They're not going to want to do this. And my guess is the brand new homeowner isn't going to want to say, okay, you know, they're not going to want to just add on 11 grand. And so yeah, I think that's a good idea. I like it. You know, and so long as they understand that, you know, you're not inviting them to rely on any representation. It's all, you know, just very rough and, you know, to give them an idea of what may be involved. I kind of like it because you're right. We don't need acrimony because I think the way the current system works, you get a lot of people who don't understand that once they invoke the process, yeah, they do lose control over whether or not it might happen, because then it becomes a matter of us deciding what's in the best interest of public safety. Really, it's not just these homeowners involved, but you know, our charge is really we're being stewards of our resources, including our environmental resources and what's prudent overall. So yeah, I do kind of like that idea, but I'm interested in learning what my fellow board members think about it. So what do you guys have to say?
I have a question. Number 3, number 4, number 6 are interested. Do we know that the 4th homeowner has just not answered and showed interest, or has said no?
Allison, do you know if anything happened with that homeowner?
I don't know. I know that one of the homes just got a new septic system, but I don't know which number that was, and I don't know.
So yeah, we don't have any information from number 8 right now, Jacques.
It might adjust the cost a little bit, but I agree with what's been said. I think they're going to get sticker shock. Big time.
Yeah, and the one who just has a new septic system, you can put a no there, right?
Right. So it's only going to be 2 to 3, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, the cost would still be shared. If it goes through like any other project, the cost would be shared by all the affected homes.
Okay, so on top of the new septic system, they would have a bill for
Correct.
for the
And I'm gonna
possibility.
say, yeah, and I'm going to say possibly because there's, you know, a couple different configurations we could do out there. I'd rather not get into the business of doing a two house connection, but that's also a possibility.
Okay.
But again, it drives up the cost because you still have the initial setup fee, you have the survey fee, all of that. So hopefully we'll have some good news to report back on at the next meeting on how this goes.
All right. Does anyone else want to remark on it?
So what's, you guys are going to do an assessment and estimate of the
Yep.
cost and then present it to the homeowners.
As well as outlining what the process would be. I think
Okay.
that's the key thing is the way we're currently set up. By the time we're really providing in-depth information, they're already into the process. Where I think if we do a little bit more education up front, it will be helpful. And to be honest, I really hope the person with the new septic is involved, because it's great to hear how much did you really spend on that new septic system.
And what they actually did.
Yep.
You know, if they replaced the tank, you know, that's a lot different than replacing your entire leach field.
Yeah, that's true.
And to your point, Paul, if you know, I don't have any problem with the fact if they have a septic system that for $900 is going to get them another 25 years, that's a reasonable decision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, septic systems are a viable alternative. I mean, there's a lot of our town that has, it's on septic. I'm on septic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so
You guys should get sewers on your roads.
Okay.
I don't even think they have them on my side of the town.
All right. So
I'm not
Tony, work that out.
All right.
Okay.
Just don't come to me until mine's failing.
You just let us know exactly when that's going to be, Paul.
All right. So that's it on Washburn. We don't need any action. You guys just have directive as to what non-binding actions you want to take.
Yeah, I'll send them an email tomorrow and tell them we'll schedule a meeting with the homeowners to go through the process and give them a high level estimate.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. So that moves us to item number 4, status report on sewer extension projects. All right. Tom.
The one big update is for our Woodland Street, Hot Meadow Street. I actually talked to the state today. They are actually in agreement that we can go ahead and bid this right now while we're waiting for their review to be complete. The only concern they actually came out with, which surprised me, was the cutting down of a couple of trees, which there are a few larger sycamore trees right there that, and said, yeah, and we know that there's a come down, but we're trying to limit how many come down. We have the design is probably 95% at this point. There's a couple of things that we'll have to adjust after bidding because we won't know until we get the full start digging in the ground. We may have to adjust a couple of which direction a couple of homes going. That's why I say the design is like 95%. And I should have the bid documents in hand tomorrow for our final review. And with any luck, we will put down or put it out to bid within the next week and a half. The other one, just so you guys know, is Hendricks Lane. They actually installed the manhole today. So that project will be wrapped up and completed as far as we're concerned.
All right.
Are we going to take Meadowwood off our list now?
Yes, we can take Meadowwood off our list now, I guess, right?
How long was it on the list? I mean, this is like the Billboard Top 100.
Yeah.
How many weeks was it, in the top 100?
Well, it's been on the list for at least 8 years, so
8 years. Is that a record?
I think
I'm sure it's been long. I'm sure it's than that too.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. So that moves us to, actually, can I go back to number 3 just briefly? I do like your idea, but I'm just wondering, is it first worth a phone call to this person to say, hey, look, just so you know, historically, our costs are in the range of X. And, we're happy to do this workup, happy to do this, but we just want you to know that this is what you're generally likely to look at. Because if you kind of set up this that you're going to do this whole presentation and you come to them with a price of like $9,000 versus $900, she might look at us kind of incredulously. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's not a ton of work for Tony and I. This is a matter of hours, not days. And I think it's a good opportunity to kind of try a new way of presenting this. So as we go forward, it's kind of a new set of tools in our toolbox. And I think some people, I know I have a few people I work with that would really not want to own a septic system. They feel that there's a level of pressure and uncertainty to that. So I don't think it's that much. It's not that big of a lift for us to kind of try this out and see how it works.
All right. Okay, fair enough.
And just for your information, Paul, with Allison has had talks with this homeowner over the past several days and has relayed the fact that there will be assessments that are due, that the connection charge is due, and it's not going to be and she actually, I think she gave a range, correct me if I'm wrong, Allison, of it could be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for a sewer installation. So the homeowner is well aware of what the cost may be.
Okay, fair enough. Good. All right.
Good.
So then back to number 5, treatment facility report.
We are doing well with our process at this point in time. We had a couple of more VFDs that were replaced last month as part of our our replacement program. We're probably about 3/4 of the way through replacing the VFDs, which are at 12 years old at this point in time. So end of lifespan for those. We're still working with AECom to finish up the water pollution control plan and the facilities plan. With any luck, that'll be finished before we come back in the fall. Sewer lining project, they're getting ready to start the first week in June for this. We will be doing the remainder of Terrafil section of town, a couple more sections along Hot Meadow Street. And they're also going to be lining the force main for the Tungus pump station, which is an old asbestos pipe that has actually had, since I've been here, it's failed twice. So we'll be able to make that structurally sound for well after I retire. The clarifier project, we just had a pre-construction meeting on it yesterday. They're going to be giving us submittals within the next few weeks, ordering it. Of course, the lead time, they're planning on being on site end of September, October timeframe to install it. And they said once they get here, it'll probably take them about a month to complete that project. Miscellaneous industrial user permits. It's a slow process. I think we're going to have to take a hard look at it. The staff is going to have to take a hard look at that to see if we need to become more aggressive at getting businesses to register with us. Whether it's going out and knocking on doors and walking into these businesses and saying, here, you need to fill this out, or we may have to fine you for not doing so, because they would be in violation of the permit, and we have the full right to do that. So we'll have to look at that. I mean, I don't want to go that route, but that may be a route we have to take in the future.
Understood. Okay.
So at the referendum, our portion was approved, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that was for the improvements to the bank, right?
Yes, the improvements to the protective berm. Yes.
Yeah.
And that project is only going forward is if we get our FEMA grant. If we don't get the FEMA grant, we have no intention of doing that project.
Okay.
At this time, we'll
At
look
this
at
time.
it later.
At this time, correct. At this time.
Okay, one other question in light of the Colonial Pipeline disaster. What have we looked at in the treatment plant to make sure something like that doesn't happen?
We are not on any outside network for our treatment plant process.
Okay, so they're all internal processes, internally controlled.
Correct.
None of the computers are tied to the internet that control the processes?
That is correct.
Okay. Have we had a cyber security expert just kind of make sure we're up to snuff?
IT department. They are very afraid of anyone hacking into our system.
Yeah.
So they look at it all the time.
Okay. There's some pretty clever people out there that want to do harm, so just got to make sure we're robust.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for those remarks. Item number 6 is correspondence, but I didn't see any correspondence other than 30 Winthrop and 3 Washburn, or the Washburn Drive, unless I missed something.
No, you are correct.
Okay. So we have completed number 6 before we even got there. So that takes us to item number 7, the April meeting minutes and a possible approval. So, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? If so, raise your hand. Okay.
I'm going to take 5 to take a quick look. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. You can take time. That's fine, Ed.
While Ed is doing that, just just in case we don't have our meeting next month, I don't know if we want to make our motion this month for our summer recess and having the chairman or vice chairman be able to sign paperwork and such during the summer break. If you guys want to make that motion today, this month, instead of waiting till next month, but we
That's a good
could wait
idea.
till next month as well.
When Ed's
Just
done,
in case we're no.
that's good. When Ed's done, we'll After the minutes, we'll take that up. That's a good idea.
So we're all set with Hendricks Lane, Tony? No, nothing else going on with that?
Correct. Yeah, they put the manhole in today for that, so that project is done as far as we're concerned.
All right. Yeah, that seemed to be the big issue at the meeting. Okay, and then the budget. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. That's a lot less than 5 minutes.
Well, speed reading.
All right. You did the Evelyn Woods program growing up.
Yeah.
And so, all right. Does anyone have anything to remark about the April meeting minutes? They were unremarkable? How about that? So that being said, does anyone want to move that the meeting minutes for the April 8th, 2021 meeting be approved as written?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing no one vying for discussion, all in favor, vote
Aye.
aye and raise your hands. Aye. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. So that takes us to an item that is not actually on the agenda, but comes under really the other business, and that is we're about to recess for the summer unless some, emergent action needs to be taken that is not foreseeable at this point in time. And therefore, as is our custom, we generally authorize the chairman or the vice chairman of the authority and the exercise of their discretion, unless they think it provident to call a special meeting, to be authorized to take any and all actions on behalf of the authority as if we were assembled as an entirety during any point in time of the summer recess. So I would be willing to entertain anyone who wants to make such a motion.
Now, is this for July and August? I forgot. Or is it June, July, and August?
July and August.
July and August. Okay.
So we're doing it actually in advance.
All right.
We're going to have one more meeting.
Okay.
All right, I'm so moved.
Anyone want to second the motion?
Second.
Oh, okay.
All right, any discussion? Seeing no interest in discussion, all in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Okay. So before we adjourn, does any other items of interest that anyone wants to bring up?
Just a quick follow-up. Tom and I have been talking. We're getting ready to set up a meeting with Jay for our subcommittee. And hopefully we'll have a report for you guys at next month's meeting regarding fees and such for the miscellaneous industrial user.
Terrific.
And then just maybe a quick clarification before on the trees. It looks like they're maples. I don't think we're removing any sycamores. We're going to confirm that just in case anybody might be watching this from home. I know the sycamores have a special place in everybody's heart in Simsbury. I'd rather not be burned in effigy.
Yeah, I'm not an arborist. I'm sorry I misspoke.
Okay, good to know. Thanks for that important point of clarification. So, all right. Seeing no other business or matters of interest, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.